Abel snapped awake from his bed, his head clear enough now to hear the thumping sound reverberating. It was coming from below him, right below him. And as he heard the final thump, he noticed the water at his bedside rippling. Abel's heart sank. He heard the floorboards below him creak and strain to hold together. Something was hanging from them, something big. Abel sat up, wide awake in bed. He heard the boards creak back into their respective place. He peered around his room, waiting for another sound. There was nothing now, and the sound of silence scared Abel even more than the thumping sound had. In seconds, silence was ripped away, however, and Abel heard a new sound now. It was a clicking noise, dull and hollow, filing away at Abel's sanity. It was coming from the window. As Abel quietly approached the window, the tapping persisted. Abel's pulse was racing. He was shaking. The sound was louder as he approached the dark metronome that scraped at his skull. He stood in front of the window, pulling the cord to spread the curtains and reveal nothing. He looked out on the deadness of the backyard. The moonlight cascaded over it like a blanket of snow. The quiet again engulfed him, causing him to shiver at the scene unfolding around him. Abel was mesmerized by the serenity of the backyard. He almost didn't notice the large black spire rising in front of his face. Fear and anguish spread across Abel's face. Tap, 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 screech. The talon rapped on the window, scraping against the glass. It left a mark right in front of Abel's forehead. Abel stood frozen for a moment, with the ebony hook in front of him. Eventually, he understood the beast's intent, and he opened the window slowly, just in time to hear those two words, those cold, emotionless words that captivated and enslaved Abel. I hunger. Abel stood in front of the open refrigerator. Its light projected onto his face. Abel's eyes scanned the well-lit shelves for a minute, then they bulged slightly and he started to cry. There in front of him was nothing. Cereal, yogurt, fruit, vegetables, no meat. Soy products, but no meat. Abel knew the creature would be more than insulted to eat soy. Even Abel hated soy, and surely a giant carnivore would abhor it. Perhaps even to be so insulted, to eat just a part of Abel, maybe just an arm or a leg. He shuddered at the thought. Looking into the white refrigerator light, Abel cursed the healthy. He cursed Jenny Craig, Slim Fast. He cursed the health shops, personal trainers, and he cursed vegetables. Whatever happened to good, juicy, red meat, he thought. He'd almost given up all hope, and then he remembered the freezer. He'd forgotten all about it, and he now looked up at it the way that one would look upon a merciful God, pleading for forgiveness and salvation. Abel grabbed a chair and propped it in front of the refrigerator, slowly opening the freezer. He cried once again, but now tears of joy and relief fell down his face. He had never been so happy to see leftover turkey in his life, and for once he was really thankful. He praised the meat god under his breath, and then went to preparation work quickly. 15 minutes later, he left the house with a platter of steaming turkey. The fowl was silhouetted by the moon's light, and Abel was happy that the meal did take on an enticing form. Abel slowly approached the opening and sat the plate down next to it. "It's ready," Abel whispered morosely, and the words echoed down in the dark space. "Bring the parcel down here to me," the thing said. At that moment, Abel had the urge to run. He had the urge to scream, to run away and say no. But he knew that he had to obey, for running away never worked on TV, and it surely wouldn't work now. He had to be brave, he had to be cunning, and courageous like Fernando Argentina was. It was the only way. And with this in mind, Abel mustered up what little courage he had and lowered himself into the concrete abyss. Abel sat in the entrance and listened to the thing, slurping and chewing, crunching in front of him. It didn't seem to mind the bones, and it crushed them easily. Abel imagined the thing slurping him down and crunching down on his bones, and the thought made Abel shiver and cower in the corner of the entrance. After the beast had finished its meal, Abel saw the two claws placing the platter back into the moonlight, and Abel heard the beast retreating to the darkness. "Wait," Abel said. The beast stopped moving away. "That turkey was the last of the meat. What should I do?" Abel's voice wavered slightly, but maintained a sort of confidence to it. "Go find more," the voice responded coldly. "But I can't," Abel whimpered. "My mom won't let me leave the house. I can't go to the store alone. I don't have any money, and..." The voice interrupted him. "Then you will be the next meal. Yes, you. Or maybe the mother fly you speak of. Yes, yes." "No, don't touch her. I'll kill you first," Abel screamed. He felt what little testosterone he had for a 9-year-old be summoned up and come to his aid. The beast, as Abel's threat prompted it, started to reveal itself to Abel. It slowly moved out into the moonlight and peered at Abel. Abel wanted to die. The beast towered in front of him, a giant hairy mass that blocked the entrance to the crawl space. Abel's lips started to shiver as he stared at the thing in utter terror. He prayed for darkness to cover its hideous face, and for a second wished he was blind, at least for this instant. For there in front of him, drooling and lusting over Abel's body, was a giant 8-legged freak, a supersized common household demon, a giant, hairy, disgusting spider. Abel sat waiting for its next move. He stared at those dark sets of eyes, those mesmerizing, terrifying eyes, those fangs dripping with turkey juices, and furry legs. He was so entranced with terror that he did not even notice the fluid running down his leg and dripping onto the concrete surface below him. He almost didn't hear it speaking to him, so methodically, talking to him as the mandibles weaved back and forth with menacing power and control.
Will you kill me now, Abel? Can you kill me now?
Before the beams of morning sunlight shone through the windows of Abel's room, he was already up and about. It was 5:30 and his mother would not wake now, so he had to act quickly. Sneaking into her room, he started to grab a few dollars from her purse. He wondered about the meaning of the faces on the dollars and how many he needed, so he grabbed about half of his mother's money, just for safe measure. He let himself out the front door and locked it behind him with his mother's keys. He felt a tinge of remorse from his insidious behavior as he walked into the blue dusk of morning, but he also felt the thrill of accomplishment and adventure. He had never been outside the house by himself, and he felt as if he was a TV character on an adventure while he walked. This adventure, however, quickly melted after Abel had the daunting notion of something he had not anticipated. He didn't know where the store was, not for sure at least. He felt first like turning back and asking his mother, but he knew he couldn't do this. It wouldn't make any sense. Besides, an adventurer acts first and thinks later. It always worked this way on the soap operas. So the steady march of Abel's shoes continued to resound down the street as he searched for his quarry, the 24-hour mark. Julia snapped awake. She could have sworn to hearing the door slam close. She grabbed the baseball bat propped next to her bed and quietly got up to investigate the noise. She checked the door. It was locked. Strange. She thought, am I hearing things? She continued past the front door and looked around the house some more to calm her nerves, but found nothing. Drowsily, she let the bat hang at her side and walked back to her room. She stopped at Abel's room, however, to make one last final inspection. She imagined him curled up in a ball, maybe snoring in a soft pattern. She loved watching him sleep. Quietly, she creaked open the door and peered inside. Gone! He was gone. Terrifying thoughts clouded her mind. She dropped the bat with a loud thud that parted the mind's storm clouds for a moment. Tears welled in her eyes when the thoughts returned. Was it a kidnapper? Did her boy get kidnapped? Again a muffled thud resounded below, interrupting her preemptive fear, and she looked down, annoyed, and then shock spread upon her face. The baseball bat lay still, and it had not made the thumping sound. But if not the bat, she thought, what had? She looked down at the carpet in contemplation, and then realized that the sound came from below. It sounded muffled because the floorboards had silenced it. Was it Abel? She thought. Is he okay? She ran outside to the entrance underneath the house. It was open. He must be down there. But what was he doing? If it was him, he must need help. I'll save him, she thought, as her heart raced. I'll save him. Abel stood astonished in front of the 24-hour mark. He had made it on his own, and though his bounty was not nearly as important or fantastic as the Holy Grail, he still felt important. He strutted through the automatically opening doors. I made it, he thought. Happily, he peered around the store for the deli section. People walked around lazily, and he did not arouse their suspicion, much to his sanguine. After all, everyone in the store looked suspicious at this hour. It didn't take him long to find the meats. The aisles of the store were labeled with neat cartoon renditions of the produce they contained. He noticed the cartoon cooked turkey and skipped down the aisles towards it. Grabbing what he needed, he headed towards the front of the store. He observed an old, wrinkled lady checking out and followed her example. He stepped up to the counter, which was barely underneath his nose, and placed his goods onto it, laying out the cash as well.